The hearing for Chad Daybell was really an event for people watching this case. And here are some details that FBI agent Daniels put forward that were also confirmed in my readings.
We would be calling Steve Daniels. What is your occupation?
Special agent with the FBI.
How long have you worked for the FBI?
I've worked for the FBI for 26 years.
They're showing me like a search team going to this area. I feel like there's a group of men they're showing me up again by that boulder, behind the boulder, right where they pulled up to go. They want me to come there again.
A local FBI case agent from the area contacted me and informed me that there would be a search warrant execution on the Chad Daybell property. And one of the things we would be looking for would be human remains.
When did you arrive on the Daybell property?
It would have been June 9th of 2020, and it would have been sometime after 7 a.m.
What was the first thing you instructed your team to do?
Since we had a week of preparation, we had approximately 8 ERT team members, official team members on site. So given that week of preparation, our team members were pre-assigned roles. So we kind of all had at least an initial role or responsibility prior to arrival. It does look like the Pacific Northwest with the big giant trees. I don't really see specifically the house. I just feel like it's kind of one of these modest, like, summer homes or whatever. Summer cabin, summer home, whatever. They want me to see off into the distance. So, like, from where I'm on this property that feels like it would be like there would be like a summer house there, like a smaller house, or it could even be a decent house or something. But it's the type of area where people would have like second homes, like where they take their kids for the summer and stuff. It has that kind of feeling. I'm not saying that's what it is. It's just the feeling of the vibe of the place. It's very peaceful, very peaceful. I feel like there's a little, like a front porch area, but it's not a raised up porch. They're showing me, and I can't be 100% sure that it's attached to the house on the lake, but I feel like it is. And I feel like it's not a porch that's raised up, like wooden, porch, like on the Craftsman house or whatever. It's more like just flat. It could be brick or something. It's either brick or concrete. It might have like a foot-high kind of brick border around the little area, and then it might be big enough outside the front door to have like a couple chairs where maybe a couple ladies might be sitting and talking or something. It could be a little bigger than that, but that's just a feeling I get. I'm seeing these things and I see bits and pieces. So then if you see it and it's like 10 feet big and you're like, oh no, she said a little porch. No, this is what I see. I see pieces of this front porch. I almost feel like the house may have been, it feels to me, it's definitely built between the 50s and the 70s. I feel like it's a 1-story, but it could be now a 2-story. Like maybe someone came along later and added one more, a bedroom on half the house or whatever. So that's why if I said 1-story and then you see a 2-story and you're like, oh no, that's not it. Well, that's why. It might even still be painted 2 different colors. Like if the bottom story has one color of paint and then that addition has like they left it like wood brown where you stain the wood or whatever, something like that. But one thing, like with that detached garage, it's definitely detached from the house. You identify that house, there could possibly be an attached garage to the house or attached those carport things. That's a possibility. I don't see it, but I don't know. But maybe this thing that looks like a garage and it's about the size of a garage was built to be a workshop, right? For a hobbyist. Because it has a workbench on all 3 sides. And that they show me over and over. So that I know is not just a picture from my mind. Literally, there's a garage and off a building not connected to the little house, the little summer house.
You know, it could be a permanent house, but that's the type and style and the feeling I have. That's all. The garage part is not connected to the main house. It's like considered an outbuilding. Okay, so I feel that the wood, you'd recognize it right away because it's like when the siding is plywood, but then they thought they were being decorative, so they would take a 1-inch by 2-inch boards and put them evenly spaced on the outside and then paint the whole thing like that's a kind of decorated, garage building. But inside, it's not really meant to park cars, at least the way it's set up, because it has a workbench around 3 sides of it. And it feels like he had the daughter's body on that workbench and he's literally chopping it up. He's got plastic everywhere, but it seems to me there would be like so much blood up. And went about 20 feet up the river, I'm feeling like saying. And I don't want to be too cocky about saying 20 feet, because it could be 75 feet or something like it. So you find a body there. I'm seeing a boulder right around there. And then if you went just past the boulder, so if you kind of went behind this big boulder, but where I'm directed is if you look straight across from there down to where there might be an opening that either feeds the river or where the river goes away. I kind of get the feeling it's where it feeds the river there. I see, if you look at the where the lake, where if you look up river where it feeds into the lake and you see like a large boulder on the right, that's where you stop there and go right up in there. I received was a man and woman carrying one person, and that person was wrapped in black plastic with ropes tied about every foot around the outside of the plastic. It feels like the boy was buried there. To bury it there, or different associate. I'm getting energy about it being Chad's idea to bury it there. Who suggested the gravesite for JJ and why? Why was this gravesite chosen? How many? And it feels like Chad knows a body would never be found. There's definitely bushes that are about 2 or 3 feet high there. Where'd they bury JJ? The reason I say that is once they put the dirt back over, they're putting these bushes back on there to regrow so that it'll grow over like no one will be able to tell anything was buried there. Chad shows me how to make the mound so that, because he knows how much will sink in. So he knows you put it up, in a mound and then put it, and then within a, short amount of time, it'll be flat. And they flattened it. Once they put the bushes in, they flattened it. They actually did quite a bit of work to make it cover up. They didn't just bury it in the dirt and leave. By it, I mean the body. It's really interesting. What I'm seeing is, it still feels like we're in the water, but he's showing me specifically how it's really weird how this one tree grows out. It's almost like if the water was dirt, but it's like partly growing on the dirt, and it's partly like the roots part would be almost half sticking over the water. It might be kind of folded over trying to grow under the dirt that way, but it's just interesting. It's probably some kind of landmark. Of course, there's probably 8 million trees in Idaho with that same landmark. I'm realizing, but okay. So, but he is showing me this. This is what he's showing me, and it feels like that the part around the roots where the grass. It feels. I don't know if it's moss or just because it's not quite moss. Isn't the right word, but it's. I don't know if it's called lichen, L-I-C-H-N. It's just this. It's not grass, but it's that spongy. It's a green, spongy type of that kind of foliage on that part. Yeah. So we're at this lake again. So we're at the lake. I'm going to let it clear out and just make sure everything I get from them is 100% from them, okay? Like a bottleneck or something, like if the lake is round and then there's looks like a bottleneck if you drew the thing, but I feel like it's leading into the lake, like a water stream, like from the mountains when the snow melts and stuff. But I don't know for sure. But I do feel like that. And they're directing my attention to there. Okay, what I'm seeing is a man and a woman, and they're carrying one person. Wrapped in a black, it's black plastic. I don't know. That's just their burial way, what they're doing. So, and then it feels like the man is digging pretty hard there, and then covering that. It feels like it's the boy that was buried there. Oh, the 20 feet might be 20 feet in. So if you look up that river and you see the big boulder, I don't really see specifically the house. I just feel like it's kind of one of these modest, like, summer homes or whatever. Summer cabin, summer home, whatever. And it's straight across that inlet where the neck of the lake is. Okay, then you're looking upriver, I believe. So it's like, I should say what I'm seeing, because if it means something different to the person listening to this, that's how that case will get solved. I'm interpreting what I see. So also be listening to, I'm seeing this, and then if you put a different meaning, that's fine. Because it's like, oh no, she meant the house where there was always this rumor of this little ghost or whatever. That's where you would know more than me. I just get the feeling of this little girl skipping around as a child. Okay, so, and they point me again, and I feel like there's kind of a marker, because on the right side of the river, when you're looking up the river, is a boulder, okay? And it's probably at least waist high or something. Could be bigger, I don't know. Feels like granite. And they point me again, and I feel like there's kind of a marker, because on the right side of the river, when you're looking up the river, is a boulder, if that makes sense to you. So you got to interpret it yourself too. Interpret what I'm saying with every possible way of looking at it. So be open-minded for your own interpretations. I'm going to go back, and you know what? It's like there's more to this story here at this lake. But we're back at the house now. They're showing me like a search team going to this area past the boulder. Like you'd be able to find that not too hard. And you're walking. So now there's like 4 or 5 men wearing uniforms or something. So you're walking up. It feels like a slight slope. Could be actually more than a slight slope. Going up the embankment or the edge. There's trees like almost right away. So sometimes of years the trees are like right to the water almost. And then other times of years it goes down and you could walk along the thing, So, okay, so we're the group of men. I'm with this group of men and we're walking up to look for the body. The one in black plastic with the robes, which I believe is the boy, is not that far in. Maybe 50 feet, maybe. When I see it visually, I would guess that's only like 20, 30 feet, but it's kind of up a slope or something. As the slope kind of doesn't totally flatten out, but kind of has a gradual little bit of flatness. It's right about there. In between where it starts going up a little bit more again. That's just to the left when you're walking inland, just to the left of the path, or the way you're going there, the path. It feels like there's a little bit of a path there. Maybe it's not a man-made path. I don't know, but it feels like it won't be that hard to walk through there. I don't know if they brought all the body parts or if they're going to put them other places. So I'm only seeing the one package that had like her 2 arms, which were each cut, the elbow and the shoulder. Oh, and then the 2 pieces of one leg. They're literally showing me of them putting this leg on this thing, like a rotisserie type thing, an outdoor thing that you would cook over an open fire like you might roast a pig on, I swear to God, and eating it. And they don't even care. It's like they're insane or something. Yep, they're confirming this girl's body cut. They're confirming it's back past where they'll find the boy's body, probably wrapped in this black plastic with the ropes. And then you go up, little slope, not too much. It just kind of clears out, flattens out, not too much. Off to the right, and you see, like, it's almost like they're in the middle of the trees. There's like a field of ferns, like a thicket of ferns, if you would, or something like that. I know they don't really grow that way. That's just what it looks like to me. Go towards the center of that. It's like he went right in the middle there and buried the one leg and if you find one leg and two arms, I'm telling you right now that they did eat that other leg. I'm not kidding. Now it feels like he took the rest of the body pieces, like he brought them in a bag or something. This time his idea is just scatter them all over, just kind of put them under bushes and here and there, and so the animals will just eat them. Because he feels like he made them small enough where the animals will just get them and where maybe people won't recognize what they are. Like, he got pretty gruesome. I mean, he might have even used a sledgehammer to break some bones to try to make them, like, unrecognizable and stuff like that. And to be, like, scattered quicker. But it's up in this, if you find the boy's body and it's where I say, then when you go up a little and you see this cluster of, looks like a bunch of ferns to me, it could be, I'm to be saying that it could be blackberry bushes for all I know, but, just a bunch of fluffy bushes in the middle of all that. There's like a cluster of them. That's where he buried the limbs. And then it feels like then they go back to there. So I don't know if they go back or they did it all at once, but I just know that I'm getting a little chill about something. Okay, did they go there all at once? Did they bring your body there all at once? Did they bring her body there all at once? No, I'm not getting chills. Did he go back there on more than one occasion to bury these children's bodies? Big chill. But they're still showing me carrying that little boy wrapped in the black plastic right up the slope right there behind the boulder. I guess that's the most important thing. That's where their bodies are. I can always keep hearing 20 feet, something about 20 feet. But then, you don't want to do that and someone goes, oh, it was 50 feet or whatever. I don't know.
Did you designate priority areas for search?
We had a couple priority areas. So one of our known priority areas from the aerial imagery that we looked at ahead of time, like satellite imagery, we knew there was a fire pit on the scene. So that was a priority area for us for sure. So two of my ERT team members, they were designated to find the fire pit or go to it since we knew it was already there. And they were designated to further assess that fire pit. So I had a couple team members that were just designated with, once we get there, go straight to the fire pit.
I was absolutely terrified at what I saw occur by that fire pit. It was just unreal. You would never think that real human beings would torture a child to death, cut the child up, barbecue the child, make sandwiches, and laugh about it, and laugh while they're making the sandwiches, and then laugh while they're eating the sandwiches. I mean, this is the most disgusting human beings I have ever seen.
We had a text message that talked about burying something in a pet cemetery. So we knew that there was some kind of pet cemetery supposedly on the property. So one of my jobs was to try to figure out, where is this pet cemetery? So that was something we didn't know, but we wanted to try to assess that.
One of my readings, I saw a cross. I said, I just see an old cross, and I don't know if it's an old cemetery or what, and I have a feeling I'm not really supposed to know. I'm just supposed to, notify this or make this statement. Well, it turns out that the police were monitoring Chad Daybell's texts, and he had texted his sister and said the children were where the pets are buried or something along those lines. So they were able to then, that's like a physical world way of putting the pieces together. Please show me every single landmark now in relationship to the burial of JJ that could possibly help literally locate his body. There's this little cross. I'm seeing a little headstone cross, like you would see at a graveyard. I'm seeing it, feels like you drive by it by the 2-lane road. And Lori says something like, I'll just remember my little JJ there. Close enough, like that or something like. But it feels like when you leave the area where you buried JJ, it feels like off to the right is a very small old graveyard, which probably, I don't know if there would be room in it anymore. Just some remnant of the past.
And then we had a telephone ping that showed one of the suspects in the case. We had a few, 3 or 4 telephone pings on the property from that September of 2019 time of interest that we had pre-placed on a kind of a satellite image of the property that gave us a few indicators that in September of 2019, these persons were in these areas on the property. So at least that gave us an idea of, hey, let's at least go check out those areas to see if there's any discrepancies, anything interesting in the vicinity of those, where those telephone pings were at. So we had a couple of those areas that we for sure wanted to go check out. And one of those was northeast of what we assessed to be some kind of pond on the property from those aerial imageries. Here's what I had to say about the location where this all occurred.
I also saw a little garage or workshop and outbuilding. So even if this little house has its own garage or not, I don't know. But there's a little building and it's more like a workshop. I'm seeing possible evidence in a drain at this little outbuilding shed. Also a couple times, and I got chills there. I got a couple times I've seen a deep freezer related to the bodies. During the vision, it felt like the girl was placed near there, but it was a separate thing, causing me to wonder if they were murdered or else disposed of separately. So some little piece of jewelry she was wearing may have, or a little sweater pin, or some little piece of something. It looks gold to me, like a little angel thing. May have went in the drain with some blood too. Some little piece of jewelry she was wearing may have, or a little sweater pin, or some little piece of something. It looks gold to me, like a little angel thing. May have went in the drain with some blood too.
And to your knowledge, were any items collected for evidence from that fire pit on June 9th and 10th?
Yes. So from the fire pit on this day, from all the grids, quadrants on this day, we collected suspected bone fragments. And I think we have a picture that will show you those quadrants in a second. So from all of them, we got suspected bone fragments. We got suspected organic material from this fire pit. And at the time when we're processing it, we don't know what that is, but we just see it and we're like, hey, this looks like it could be organic material. So we'll collect it, and then somebody else has to send it to a lab to try to verify that. And then an important piece that we found out of here was a chain, Pura Vida chain comes out
Agent,
of this.
I'm gonna stop you, and I'll ask some questions and as we go through. But were there any other items collected from this fire pit that day?
There was just miscellaneous pieces of cloth and fabric. And again, at the time, we don't necessarily know at this point, from our standpoint, is this important, not important? But when we see those things, we just collect them.
Okay, thanks. And Agent, what are we seeing in this photo?
This is just a photo to show you as it's, we're probably nearing completion of the processing of Firepit. So it's just showing how it's getting, it's getting cleaned up, and you can kind of see how the rake's been gone through there. And then an important thing to note for the Firepit was just as the team was processing this Firepit, they could smell like the chemical smell or accelerant smell was strong, and that was something just to remember. It was almost overpowering at times, and people were talking about, do we need to wear masks, so they could smell that? And we did take a soil sample from that Firepit so that could potentially be tested later too.
Okay.
And then from the sifting operation in the Firepit, this Pura Vida chain was collected.
Agent, when you say Pura Vida, what does that mean?
So on this silver part of the chain right there, that's the description on it. So it says Pura Vida on that chain right there.
And was that located actually in the Firepit?
That was inside the Firepit, and it was collected while doing that sifting operation that I described before. And then this, I'm sorry.
No, I was just, Agent, can you describe what we're seeing in photos 46?
And then this is just a longer shot of the silver charm we found. I know it's hard to see, but that's because it's a long shot of it. And it's
Utah homeowners, did you know that right now Rocky Mountain Power is paying homeowners thousands of dollars to put a backup battery in their home? That's right, Rocky Mountain Power just launched.
It was found kind of in this area over here. Here's the Firepit. It was found quite a distance over here.
Agent, was this an area where the total station was used to make measurements?
Yes, it was.
Are those measurements?
Those are those measurements.
Okay.
So when we talked earlier about the team getting there, the team created this grid, and these squares become the quadrants. And they created this because they found that ash on the ground in these areas. And again, thinking, well, in 2019, this Firepit potentially wasn't there. What if it was over here? But we found all the ash outside of this Firepit in these areas. So the team members, they're the ones that created these grids. While they were setting up the grids, that's when they noticed that silver charm right there. So it just caught their attention. And it's just one of those things at first. And that was actually fairly early in the day that we saw that, because that's when the grids were getting set up. But it's just like, hey, that doesn't fit. Why is that way out here in the middle of this field?
Okay, Agent, what are we seeing in this next photo?
So now we're just doing closer up views. Usually we start with a longer view of a piece of evidence, and then we do medium shots, close-up shots, and close-up with scale shots. And that's what you're about to see.
Okay. So that's just a
closer up shot of it. And these are all still with it in place.
Okay.
And now we've moved it. And now we just added the scale to it.
Okay.
And then over on the side over here, we didn't get a specific measurement of the charm, but what we did do, because we had our total station, the measurement tool that can measure specific points, we use our total station when we do grids in the middle of fields and whatnot where there's no reference points. We use total station to map in any grids we make. So whether it's a burial, and we'll map in with total station the specific points of that burial, so we know where Tylee's burial is on that property. And then we use total station to map in each one of these corners of our grid so we know where that is. And then we total stationed in each end of the center blocks. And that's why those center blocks are kind of all noted on there. And so now we could potentially take a measurement from this, our grid point is what we did. We took that measurement to one of the center blocks of the fire pit to at least give everybody the approximate. So that's from our grid, the northeast corner of our grid, to one of the center blocks of the fire pit. So we at least have an approximate distance as to where that charm was. But that's not a measurement to the charm.
Okay. And that's just the same charm placed over some paper.
Correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm about to move on to another section. I wonder if this would be a time to take the mid-afternoon break.
I think it would be a good time for that, Mr. Wood. All right, we'll go ahead and take our mid-afternoon break for